Happy what is left of Thursday, June 15th, 2023. Welcome to the Midnight Express overnight, not overnight. So actually not a Midnight Express. I'm sorry. It's a semi-overnighter. I wasn't really planning on doing a stream today. I was working on this setup here. So it's a little bit impromptu. So let me say hi to the chat real quick. This is basically going to be an unstructured open mic. So if you guys have any questions about anything, I didn't have a set topic yet. I wasn't sure about what we were going to be doing with this. Hold on for a second. There we go. Wasn't sure what we were going to be doing with this setup between me setting up my new studio area and the pending return of Enosh. I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to be streaming today, so hopefully you guys can hear me. Hopefully everything's working. Hold on for a second because I see something that's bothering me. Hold on. Sorry about that. I unhooked everything to move things around and add some stuff that you guys can't see here. So something was flickering on my feed. So let me say hi to the chat room. Hello, everybody. Andy Machete for Brave and Bold. Yeah. Like I said before on my rare rant on Twitter is that I halfway into the Flash, I was okay with this guy getting another DC film as soon as possible. I love the Flash. So, how you doing, Aaron? Oh, by the way, I got sent a screenshot today. Apparently, I'm a celebrity now. I don't know how. I have more pairs of shoes than I have followers, but somehow I'm ending up in comment sections of shows I'm not even on. Somebody sent me a screenshot. I want to say who it is, but screenshot of several screenshots. I guess it's happened over the course of a couple of different shows, but I'm ending up in comment sections of shows I'm literally not even a part of or on. So I guess I've made it. I guess I've pierced a YouTube celebrity status or something. I don't know what it takes mentally for me to live rent free in someone's head, given what I got, like not even 200 followers. I know a lot more of you guys follow me on the lounge, but if we're not engaging in a conversation, it's just always weird to me, even after all these years of owning a business and everything else, to see my name or something or quote or misquote in this case bought up somewhere. And I thought somebody saw it and they sent it to me in a screenshot. I just got a chuckle out of it. I'm like, if William Powell is living in your conversations and I'm not even around, what does that mean? I don't even know what to say to that. It's kind of weird, actually, but I guess it's part of being on YouTube. So I got a laugh out of it. So yeah. How you doing, Aaron? Hal Jordan, what's going on? Not after those images going around of Ben Affleck, Batman, and the Flash. LOL, those look horrible. People don't care. So many people just wanted to see Ben Affleck in Batman. He could have been wearing a clown suit and makeup, and as long as it was recognizable as Ben Affleck, none of the people that in any of my screenings gave a shit how he looked. They were just happy to see him again. Sad that he may never get a single movie. So a lot of the like I said, my online community, they're of a different breed than just the average people who like Ben Affleck as Batman. So I don't think that mattered. Soft Flash today. What'd you think? Without spoiling it for anybody, what'd you think, Vince? 9 out of 10 from your girlfriend? Okay. How you doing, Jalen? What's going on, man? All right. William, what are you most looking forward to at AEW Collision? CM Punk's return. CM Punk teaming up with FTR and going up against Bullet Club, who I love. You know I love Jay White. I mean, I have my U.S. Championship belt right here is signed by Jay White, my IWGP above my head there. It's signed by Jay White as well. So I'm a big fan of Jay White, so I get to see all those guys in the ring. If I were Tony Khan, I would set up an angle to where MJF does something just completely crazy and nearly gets himself stripped of the title. And then Tony Khan comes out here and says, you know what, I'm not going to strip you of the title, but I'm going to restore another champion and bring out CM Punk, because CM Punk never lost that title. And I would have CM Punk versus MJF or Wembley Stadium. That's just me. But, I digress. Jacob, how are you doing? Daniel Martin, what's going on, man? William Thon, Plaster, 9 million Saturday night previews from the domestic box office. I guess that puts it in line with Venom and Doctor Strange. So this movie's going to be weird to see. I see a lot of people doing the same stuff that they do with every movie these days. And a lot of these guys, you can tell. I mean, I can read some of these comments I've seen in places. Some of these guys haven't seen a movie. Some of them have. It just seems like it's a sport to just screw with a movie before it comes out. That's why if this culture is only going to change if the fan goes to the movie and decides for themselves. If you go to the movie, if you go to The Flash and you think it blows, and that you say it blows, I mean, that's no problem. But if you allow, and not just The Flash, by the way, allow all this mess that builds up over a movie before it gets released to sway your decision making, I don't know, man, because is this stuff coming from the people that you trust with movies, or is it just coming from YouTube? Is it coming from YouTubers? Is it coming from a trade? And for the most of you who don't get to go to see advanced screenings, who's paying for your movie? Now, if those guys are, rolling up to your crib and saying, "Hey, I'm gonna pay for your movie. I'm gonna pay for your soda, pay for your popcorn, jump in," and then they want to basically trash the movie on the way to the movie, and you want to let it affect them, okay? But it ultimately comes down to your money. So I think The Flash is going to do more than 70, but I'm not sure. Who knows? I know one thing: it's going to go on streaming as soon as possible. No matter what it does. And by the way, no matter what The Flash does this weekend, good, bad, indifferent, it's going to streaming and going to not even POBD for a while. They may have a contract, but it's going to go to Max. I'm sorry, as soon as they can get it on there. As soon as they can get it on there, it could be tracking towards a certain, because the break-even money, that's already, they absorbed that in the loss sheet when they bought the company, everything that was in production. But I still think that. Even though they'll say one thing in public, I still think adding value to the streaming service is where they're headed, because that is where this business is going. They can say one thing online or in an auditorium filled with desperate people. They want to put these big bangers on these streaming services, and these $1 billion movies that come in, say, "Oh, it made $1 billion. They should keep it in the theaters for 1,000 days so it can make $2 billion." You got to understand, they don't get all that money. At every turn, they're losing more and more of their money to all these guys that get paid out. 33% of it goes to the actual brick and mortar theaters. If you borrowed or financed the money, then that comes out. They get first dollar. They get whatever they lent you to get the movie, because most movies are made on borrowed money, and then they get their interest. If you have any type of deal with a big star, anybody that gets first dollar or their bonus out of, so by the time that they get this $1 billion or whatever it is that they're going to make, so many people at the table have eaten before they get that. That's not $1 billion to them. So if it's a $500 million, they're not getting that. There's a lot of middle people that get that. So the streaming allows them to add value to the monthly subscription service, and that money, they get a lot more of that money. They get a lot more of their dollar than they do when it goes to theater. Now, even in the international, because a lot of the over, we're not just talking domestic total. When people are saying, "Oh, a movie made $1 billion," usually a good sum of that is coming from overseas. Well, overseas, the dividends get even worse. I'm pretty sure. I think like China. I think China takes 50 to 60%. So you're not even getting all that money. So by the time you get to take home bottom line, you cut away at a lot of what an impressive amount to online people and Twitter and YouTube and pundits. It sounds great. It sounds awesome. But when you do the end game math of it, you're in business to make money and to keep as much as your bottom line as possible. So I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised to see a less than 40-day window for The Flash. I don't care what it pulls in this week. Because I don't think they are thinking in that dynamic as much as a lot of people think they are. I think they want that consistent revenue. And I think a lot of these movies, these big blockbuster movies, you're going to be surprised at the very short window that they have. And I don't think it's just going to be Warner Brothers. I think there's going to be a lot of movies and people are going to be like, oh, why didn't they keep it in theaters? It could have made a lot more money. For who, though? Profit margin wise, who gets the who gets the largest percentage of the money to the point where they may as well cut their losses and get it on a streaming platform as much as possible. And I think you're going to see that as a compromise. I think you're going to see, you may not see all the big movies going to streaming like people thought it was back in the COVID era, like it eventually, like it will be in 5-6 years. But in that interim, I think you're going to see things like really short windows. All these movies will go to the theaters, but I think that you're going to see these things going in the POVD and the streaming services as soon as they can get them in there. Unless you're like Nolan and you have a contract that does not allow for it. But I think a lot of these big tentpole movies are going to end up on streaming sooner than later. So a lot of people probably will be waiting for that one. But as far as like, I don't know. Like I said, I don't think it's going to come in under 70 million, but I wouldn't be surprised at this point. William thought on Andy Muschietti confirmed to be directing a Batman. Yeah, we talked about that before. I think it's a great move. That's about as excited as I'm going to get for the Brave and the Bold because, once again, we're almost 3 years away from any of this stuff hitting the fan, and so many things can change. So, William, I thought you were stripping in there. Nah, I was, like I said, and I'm hoping this Saturday for our Saturday overnight show, I'm going to try my best for that to be the debut of the new setup. Because, I got all this stuff moved in here now. And it's really hard for me to move around without making a bunch of noise. But, yeah, what I've decided I'm going to do is, like I told you guys before, is we're going to go all the way back to this wall. And I am no longer going to use this camera. We're going to use the boom camera. You can't see the boom, but it's clipped to the thing. And then I'm going to use the boom mic that's already here. And we're going to swim everything back. And then I'm going to have a wide shot or a long shot. And I'm going to have the other camera that brings you in close. And I'm going to have the TV here. And I got to work that out. But you'll see behind me all this stuff. So it'll look kind of cool. But, yeah, I unplugged a lot of stuff to see if we could reach and get everything where I needed to be. And I didn't do everything right. So I had some stuff in the background that was getting on my nerves. Don James Gunn chose Anthony Muschietti. Okay, got it. Oh, after watching The Flash, I get that as well. If any past these characters, yeah, you can see that in the Flash movie. You can see that in the movie. All right, signed for a first look deal with Warner Brothers Film TV division. That works for me as well. It was only a matter of time before he became a celebrity. Yeah, it's just creepy, man. I mean, it's just weird. I'm used to direct engagement with people. So, and whether you agree with me or not, I'm used to, like, if you have we're going back and forth, we're having a conversation, and that's just it. And you're in the room with me or you're on the screen with me. So I'm going to have to get used to, that kind of thing, especially, and like I said, you guys don't have to send me anymore. I know it's out there, and like I said, I'm just shocked. I'm gonna have to get used to being misquoted and having things I say taken out of context and misrepresented, because that's just the way, somewhat of a public figure, I guess. So I just gotta chuckle. I mean, there are people who related to me that I could run into in Walmart and wouldn't know who the hell I am, but somebody in another comment section mentioning my name, and whether good or bad or disparaging, is just weird. So I don't think that is possible. It can barely fit in the hat I have on. I loved it. One, I liked it too. If as an overall experience, I loved it. I thought a lot of the action and stuff. I like the characters and I like the actors. Remember, it's a different set of people, and it too. I just enjoyed those people more in it. One, but as an overall story, I enjoyed it. Andy Muschietti did a great job there. I love your questions, but some of us may have. Oh, William had to change one sham to a fresh exam church. Oh, I did that too. Yeah, I looked at that one. I had that one balled up, and I'm like, it's a clean shirt, and I'm like, ooh, it's wrinkly. And then the stuff I had to move around, I had this shirt under it. So, yeah. Someone posted a comment about you under one of my family videos on my channel. Wow. I guess I'm ready for my close-up. I mean, this is weird. This is weird. I get freaked out when I go to like a wrestling event, or I go to a Starbucks or something. And back years and years ago, I made it to the cover of a local magazine here called Las Vegas Weekly, and I get on things every now and then, and it's just somebody walked up to me and said, "Hey, you're the sci-fi guy," and this is before I wore this shirt, so I didn't stand out as much, and I just freaked out, man. I'm like, I shook my hand. We talked, we got into a conversation. But it's just weird. It's just weird. Even on a positive sense like that, when you meet people, it's even weirder that like it's weird seeing a word or a phrase or something you may have said like totally discombobulated on somewhere else where you're not even involved with. It's just hilarious. I mean, but like I said, if I'm going to be on this platform, something I'm going to have to get used to. All right, that's how you know. Yeah, that's how I know I made it. And like I said, I'm not the kind of guy who's going to like directly respond to anybody when I see that kind of stuff. If you want to talk to me and engage with me, this is the place to do it. You can engage with me on the screen. We don't always agree, and that's not a prerequisite for us having a conversation. That goes for me in person too. You can come into the center, have a seat, or you can talk, and we don't have to agree on anything. As long as we're having a civil discourse, we're not calling each other names. We're not, doing, we're acting like grown men and women. We can talk forever, and the roads never have to meet. But yeah, it's just weird, Oh well. Yeah. William, thought on Sony just reserved the dates on titles, Marvel movies. I just think that's just them reserving dates. I don't know if anything is happening because 2024, November 8th, dude, they can reserve those dates. They'll probably have to change those dates with the writer strike, pushing everything out of there. I enjoy the Flash movie, but CGI and those cameos was terrible. When I went to our screening, and then Clint can attest to this because he was with me, I didn't see anybody having an issue with the CGI. And anybody I've talked to, for the most part, didn't. I know some people noticed it. Some people have an issue with it, but the overwhelming majority of me, people that I've talked to, didn't have an issue with it. I personally wasn't paying attention to it. And I'm not saying that it wasn't there and it was an issue. I just wasn't focused on it. As far as the cameos goes, the majority of the people that I talked to were just happy to see certain cameos. There were people that I talked to later on that would come to the store after our screening, and that were emotionally connected to some of the cameos that they saw. It wouldn't have mattered damn whether it was a claymation person, as long as if they recognized who that person was supposed to be, they were happy, and that's what the response I got when I was in the theater. Yeah, give me more wrestling questions, people. What are your thoughts on AEW movie Double or Nothing outside of Las Vegas? I don't think he'll ever do it. I think Vegas means a lot to Tony Khan because of that initial pay-per-view that happened out here, that press conference. Everything is big. I think that a lot of people think, because I was at Double or Nothing, by the way, there was a block of seats that were empty, and people just can't stop talking about those. Those were not empty when I got there. If you watch the match, you'll see, and then when they show camera levels, there's a block of seats in the middle that are within TV range that were empty during the show. And people were like, "Oh, AEW couldn't sell out the building." I was there, and the damn building was pretty filled. You see my pictures. I've shown you guys my pictures. I don't know what happened, because when I got in via the VA, veteran before war and the VA, we had a block of tickets, and they always get vets in, so they got me in, and I was initially in one seat. And then once they get you in the building, they upgrade you. They give you the best seat they can possibly get you, which is kind of cool. So they were moving us around, and they were going to move us to those. There were people in those seats when I entered the building. Those were people in those seats. Something happened. I don't know whether it was a skirmish or something. By the time they moved us around to the other side and they put us in a suite, actually, the suite was kick-ass. Food, it was beautiful. Those seats were empty, and they had asked if they could put us down there because that was down closer to the floor, and the security said no, and they didn't give us a reason. So a lot of people have been panning around, they couldn't even sell out the thing. I'm like, they do fine in Vegas. I don't think they're going to leave Vegas, and I don't think that's an issue. They're about to sell out Wembley Stadium, so AEW is a job. I don't think they'll move out. I could be wrong, Aaron. I don't think they're going to move out of Vegas. I think it's a sentimental thing to him, and it means a lot to him. The new Star Trek Strange New World was a fun start, but a little weird for the Spock character. Yes, I 100% agree, and we are going to go over this, I think, tomorrow or later on the day during our Star Trek show. Spoilers. I 100% agree with you, Grant. Here's the one thing I had to pull myself back on. That Spock is evolving into the Spock that we all know and love. There are things that we're going to see in the Spock that he's going to evolve out of when he becomes the Leonard Nimoy, Spock. There are certain things that he is not in fully control of, that he's not, So we're going to see him evolve to that character. I have to remind myself that. But the episode, I like this episode. I really love this episode. There's one thing that they did in this episode I'm kind of getting tired of, and all Trek has been doing it lately. Don't spoil it, guys, if you haven't watched the show, or if you watch the show. There's some people in here. We're going to have our spoiler review tomorrow. But, yeah, there's a certain thing that Star Trek keeps doing, and I need them to stop. Even though I had fun with this episode, I need them to stop. It's stop. But you'll watch tomorrow. Box office for comic movie Thursday night preview 2023. Guardians of the Galaxy 17.5 million. Ant-Man 17 million. Across the Spider-Verse 17 million. The Flash 9 million. Shazam 3.4 million. Ant-Man ended up tanking towards the end there. Across the Spider-Verse is going to make its money. So Shazam was 9 million. In Shazam, and see the sad thing about Shazam. And here's where, and I think I'm going to focus on this on our overnight show. Here's why I say reboots don't work. Shazam was a good movie. Shazam Fury of the Gods was a good movie. Shazam, the original one, I love that movie. Rebooting the product doesn't reboot all the ignorance and stupidity around it. So the Flash, nor Shazam, or even Black Adam is not proof that you need to reboot the DC Universe. It just proves that the people handling it at the time were lazy and stupid. And to me, lazy plus stupid equals reboots. Are you going to reboot the knucklehead fandom that surrounds this stuff, good or bad? And in DC's case, be honest with you, the Snyder Bros or the Cultists, whatever, goofy name you want to give them, at least you have their money. But all these other guys who sit and speculate, a lot of whom don't even watch these movies when they destroy them, are you going to reboot them? Nah, they're still going to be there. Are you going to reboot the punditry and the knuckleheads that can't do a review of a movie without focusing on one particular individual who's outside whatever has nothing to do with the movie and the overall body of the movie and the people who worked on it? given their dumb review, are you going to reboot them? No. Are you going to reboot the corporate structure that undermines these movies when things get hard or adversity hits? Because you could say, well, hey, Warner Brothers has a new CEO, David Zaslav, and everything is different now. And yes, David Zaslav is a savior compared to what he took over for. He is infinitely better than his predecessors. But David Zaslav's what, 69? With hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank? Even if you like David Zaslav, that's the kind of guy who retires. And there's no guarantee that the guy whose vision connects with James Gunn in this whole 10-year outlook is going to be the guy who replaces him. Bob Iger handpicked Bob Chapek, and you look at how that turned out. So we can't reboot knucklehead fans and people who just bash on movies because it's a sport. We can't reboot punditry and critics who just basically seem like they're out to do the same thing. And we can't reboot the corporate structure that undermines it. Because James Gunn, if Superman Legacy comes out and doesn't make crazy money and there's a boneheaded expectation, guess what? We're back in the same place 3 to 5 years from now. So rebooting the product is sort of meaningless if you still have all this nonsense that you can't change. Your best bet is to stick to your guts, back your creators, whether it's James Gunn going forward, Machete, whoever it is. But I don't know if they're going to do that. I don't know if we've reached the capacity, and that's what scares me about a lot of this stuff, is because the tools being used to fix DC are not tools that can fix everything else around it. You could reset the DCEU all you want to. If you still have all these other factors I just listed off, you're in the same pile of shit. It just looks different. It smells different. So it's going to be interesting. But yeah, these movies and their box office result, like I said, Shazam deserved to make a lot more money than it was. But it's also, all these movies are attached to the fact that nobody knows what these movies were even going to mean. I remember months ago when we first said we were going to pull the plug on the DCEU, I could honestly, I couldn't make the argument for you taking out your hard-earned cash if there was no solid ground for what you were watching going on. People want continuity. And I got well, you should go see a great movie because it's a great movie. The Godfather you didn't go see The Godfather because it was connected to a future universe. The Godfather was never sold to me as something that was going to be. All these DC movies were. If you would have sold me on The Godfathers 1, 2, and 3 and told me that this was part of a 3-part storyline like you told me in the DCU or any of these other connected movies, and you didn't make Godfather 2 and 3, I wouldn't trust you on your next outing. So you might have a problem there. But yeah. Who knows what these box offices are going to be, but I know DC's problem is not necessarily the quality of their movies all the time. A lot of it is people are just exhausted of the mess that it is currently and the uncertainty that it could become. Yeah, it was a whole paragraph trashing William. I've seen this guy on streams a long time ago. Yeah. Like I said, take a look at me. If I'm living rent-free in your head and in places that I am not even associated with, might want to review some things, you know? I don't know. Doesn't bother me at all. I'll sleep just fine. In fact, I'm not going to let online discourse sway whether I see and enjoy a movie or not. And that, to me, that's the way to go. It feels like the flash hype is over. As me, the movie came out 3 weeks ago. Well, for me, it did, so. Lesson learned from early days of DCEU. Yep, hopefully. William thought on Matt's Music and said there's always a chance for another helping of Hannibal. It's all about finding a home for it. I think, I hope so. That was a brilliant show, and I really wish it hadn't gotten cut short. Tara Pruma, how you doing? I was hoping to see The Flash this week as I got released on Wednesday here, but I'm hoping my word and seeing it a week later. Okay. JR, sir, having seen The Flash and blaming the spoilers, I can confidently say that anyone claiming the movie erases or wipes out Zack's movies is absolutely full of shit. Here you go. A $250 million movie has no straight place going straight to moving right away. In fact, they'll never make a $250 million. Irishman was way over that. It went to streaming. Glass Onion was way more than that. It went to streaming. They had some theatrical releases, but they were not very large. Not very many people had access to see it in a theater. Yeah, you can definitely see those kind of movies going to streaming because Netflix is doing it. Did that? I mean, how much did The Irishman cost? Irishman had to cost some serious money. That's a Martin Scorsese movie, so just paying him alone. All right. Budget for The Irishman was between 159 to 250 million, probably closer to 250. Its box office was $8 million because they only released it in the theaters enough to get. You have to be able to release things, so that's where you're going to see a lot of these movies. But they will definitely stick a $250 $250 million. They've done it. They've done it already, and they're going to do it again. Streamers are going to do this again because it's when you think about these things, you're not talking about. We're thinking an old dinosaur box office logic like the old days, and even currently right now is if you spend a certain amount of money, you got to make it back at the box office. And I'm telling you, these guys are not looking at that as their only asset. They're looking at the overall collective benefits of the value of their streaming service, what they can pull in, what consistent revenue that they can pull in. And when you think of the collective value in the volume that you can make with streaming, it justifies things like this. Now, does it justify them all the time? No. The majority of stuff you see on Netflix is going to be cheap shit. But that doesn't mean that when it comes time that they're not going to put some big dollars when it's something that they think can add value to their streaming service. I mean, they've proven it. That's not even me talking. They've proven it. But most of your stuff on that will probably be hell even 70, 80 million's a lot when you think about it. Studios pray for opening weekend and second week. That's where they get the most. Yeah, 82%. By the way, 82% is where they get the revenue they bring in. After the second week, it's pretty much like I said. You might as well start greasing the skids for streaming or PVOD. Well, if thought on Barbie is early tracking to win the box office war against Oppenheimer. Barbie's a huge brand name. Doesn't surprise me. I'm going to go see Oppenheimer. I have no plans or desire to see Barbie, but I will see Oppenheimer. And it's one of the few Christopher Nolan movies that I was really looking forward to coming in. Oh, okie. When is the Star Trek show going to be on and what time? I'm pretty sure we're going to go be seeing The Flash with a couple of our fans tomorrow. So I'm probably going to do it around 7 or 8 and probably go to a 9 o'clock screening of The Flash, depending on what screens are available. I thought on multiple Gwen Stacy Spider-Gwen variants will appear in the final Spider-Verse. Sounds legit. There are multiple of her out here. Plus, Disney has actually been making it take longer for movies to get to streaming than they used to. Yeah, but then there's some that they don't. Some movies have a 90-day window, and then some of them did. There's a couple. Haven't they done a couple of them where they had like 35-day windows? I know Universal put damn Fast X is like already on streaming. But some of their movies, I mean, they just put, like a lot of the Pixar movies, there have been, let me look up this real quick. I don't know about Indiana Jones because I think that's a different distributor. Disney box office windows before streaming. Yeah, so Disney has some ones that are going to be extended theatrical. Let's read this. All right, the path from theatrical release to home media is the clearest that it's ever been. The days of Netflix only streaming service to on the block are long ago. Let's see. It's still going to be 45 days though. And be honest with you, that may be too long. Because like Lord said, you make the bulk of your money. It's front loaded in those first 2 weeks, and a lot of these studios have movies that are coming in after the movies that they're coming out, and you don't want to lose money on any of those screens by hogging up screens to movies that you could be putting on your streaming service. Rational Scrappy, did you see the ending of The Flash and the post-credits scene? What do you know? I was not at that screening. I know what happens, but my screening did not have that. Don't spoil it, Rational. But yeah, our screening went to black immediately after the movie was over. But the ones that we sent people afterwards, those people saw the post-credit scene and the end credit scene. But I am very well aware of what happened because I asked one of our people to go to tell me. Nolan is being lured back to Yep. Like I said, personally, not the biggest fan of his movies. Even though I'm looking forward to Oppenheimer, but hey, you know what? He's a big name, and you eventually have to get names like that back to your studio. William Donald Oscar Iger, interested in playing a new genres of film. I'd like to be in a movie about sharks and perhaps dinosaurs. Hey, look forward to it. What up, William? 4,000. How are you in Azteca? William, 10 years ago, yesterday, Man of Steel was released in theaters. I loved it. It's one of my favorite all-time superhero movies. I think it's the best Superman movie ever released. I think it's slightly better than Superman 2. It's my second overall favorite Zack Snyder movie. 300, not 300. I'm sorry. Watchmen being my favorite Zack Snyder movie. So yeah. Batman Begins 18th anniversary today, aka the best Batman movie in the Dark Knight trilogy. I didn't think, like I said, everybody's different. The Nolan trilogy just bored me. Sorry. Except when Heath Ledger is on the screen. It's William Thought and Quentin Tarantino says, I have a big thing about killing animals in a movie that's a bridge I can't cross. Insects too. Wow. Yeah, animal lover. I can dig it. I don't go with the insect. And because of you, William, Sister Kim's Kitchen is as famous as McDonald's to me. Yep. Boy, I wish I had some Sister Kim's in front of me right now. Boy, I'm hungry. Daredevil Born Again and Penguin have fun of me. Yeah. Answer for this is going to be pretty much the same because of the writer's strike and the impending SAG strike. So I'm pretty much going to have a lot of this stuff is going to get redone. Chapter 2 was the biggest letdown. Trash. I was hoping so hard on. I should make a video about how much shit he dropped the ball, and that's hard. I didn't think it was too big of a follow-up, be honest with you. I enjoyed It 1 better than It 2, but I look at those movies as one big movie for me. So maybe It 1 boisters it for me, but I enjoyed it. No. I just got a chuckle out of it. Like I said, yeah, I mean, you know, other people's opinions about me in other places I can't control, and I really just don't, you know, I care about the people who I'm directly talking to right now. You know, and here's the thing I've learned about, and just from being in business a long time, when you spend the energy of caring what other people remotely or in some other place or whatever think about you, you are stealing from the people who actually care about what you have to say and what you have to offer. You know, like I could have somebody make fun of the Sci-Fi Center, make fun of my store, but I also have, you know, a lots of group of people who come in and enjoy what we have to offer and the environment we create. When I will take constructive criticism, but if it's just bashing and misquoting and stupid stuff like that, you are stealing from the people who tuned in to pay attention to you, or myself included, or came to your place. Whatever you're doing, you owe everything to the people who have chosen to engage you, whether they agree with you or not, who have chosen to engage you in a civil discord. You owe nothing to the people who do it in the periphery, who do it around the corner, who hide in the bushes and do it. You owe nothing to those people, and you should spend zero time on those people as far as I go. I just got a chuckle out of it. That's why I brought it up. But you guys right here, the people who are watching live, the people who will watch, the majority who will watch later on, you are my focus. And it's the same thing when I'm in person with you. you when you step in and engage with me, you deserve 100% of my time. The other people, shooting from the peanut gallery, it's nothing I can do about those guys. So no diss video. Has anyone seen the film 40X? It's worth the price. No, I have not. The eyes and walls are watching him. The world is going to end August 2026. Ooh, okay. Will I still be alive? Then they started talking their own language. William thought of Christopher Nolan has reportedly said a 7-figure royalty check for Tenet from dude, they lost so much money on that. That's probably part of why. James Gunn said Blue Beetle is a pro DCU character. Yes, I saw that. I don't know how to feel about Blue Beetle. I saw the trailer. I think I still need one more trailer to get me going about it. I don't have any huge. I don't know if we're going to be promoting it or not. I didn't opt in to promote it, but I still may end up doing it. From the moment that Blue Beetle was announced, I just had not very much interest in it. But that doesn't mean I might not go see it. Who knows? Well, I thought on WB film chiefs Michael DeLuca and Pam Abney visited Peter Jackson in New England to discuss Lord of the Rings and reestablish a studio connection. Good business. Squidward Productions, 4th. Okay. All right, let's see. Yeah, we were bringing that up. Like I said, I'm going to go see it again tomorrow. Plans are going to see it tomorrow. Like, it's going to be interesting to see what it does. Like I said, I think it'll beat 70 million for the first weekend. But then again, even if it doesn't, who knows what it'll bring in? Because I know a lot of movies that bring in that area, and then continue to bring in as long as they don't have a huge drop. But we also got a lot of blockbusters coming out too. And then once again, I really don't have any information on this, but I just got a feeling that regardless, it's going on streaming as soon as they can get it there. What do you think a subreddit about you would be called? I don't know. Creepy? I just don't see myself as that important. I just don't see myself as that polarizing that I should end up anywhere but this stream talking to the people that I'm talking, or with people on the screen, or if you're coming down to the store, or we're meeting in person. I don't see myself as an individual that justifies being talked about outside of the conversation that I'm in. Generally, people who are that polarized by what I have to say will just talk directly to me. So it's just a weird situation. But subreddit about me, I have no idea, man. I just really don't. Kind of creepy to even think about that. Mickey Rourke for Clayface and Matt Reeves, the Batman verse. If not, he'd be a great boss type in Black Mask. Black Mask could. Everybody's talking about Clayface in this one. It'd be weird to see it because Andy Reeves looks like he's creating a universe that could actually exist in the world we live in now, and without fantastical aspects of it. So his Mr. Freeze and his Clayface might be something drastically different than what we're used to, much in the same way as his Riddler was. Shazam and Black Adam are good movies on their own, just don't fit in the DCU we love. I'm feeling for the Flash would be the same way. Very possible. Very possible. Aaron Pitcher question, with Forbidden Door coming up, yes, and I will be watching it live. And some of the matches that have been booked, what match or matches are you looking for seeing? Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay. That could be the only match booked, and I'm there for it. If you watched January 4th this year, Wrestle Kingdom, Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega, that match is one of the best matches I've ever seen in my 40 years of watching wrestling. So I am expecting no less for this one. When I heard that was one of the matches, I didn't care about the other matches, and he ended up bringing some huge-ass matches on there. You have Okada going up against Daniel Bryan, that's a top flight legendary dream match right there. MJF is going up against Tanahashi. You got some really good matches. But yeah, Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega. I think Kenny Omega is the best wrestler, pound for pound, in the world right now, and I hope people get to see him and get to see him showcased in which should be one of the biggest matches of the year, only to be outclassed by their other match that they had at Wrestle Kingdom. whatever happened to Jason Kilar, I thought he really made an impact with Hulu and was supposed to be. Well, he went away with the AT&T merger. Once AT&T sold Warner Brothers, his job basically disappeared because Discovery was always going to take over that position. So he basically got bought out and probably got a huge severance package, and he went on his own. But yeah, once AT&T decided they were going to sell Warner Brothers to Discovery, David Zaslav became what Jason Kilar was. It was redundant, so a lot of people were gotten rid of because of that situation. Reboots feel like a more of a competent and focused change in continuing a universe that's a wagon. No, it isn't. Once again, if you haven't solved those surrounding issues, your reboot is going to be a waste of time. And it's not only going to be a waste of time and resources from the company doing the reboot, more importantly, it's going to be a waste of time for the people watching it. Right now, and it doesn't matter if they're Snyder Bros or general audience, nobody likes to have their time wasted. And nobody likes to be told that they're having their time wasted. And that's the pattern that DC has had. So, and I'm going to say this over and over again. Wrecked runways lead to crashed planes. You're so hyped up to go onto this new thing and just completely try to ignore everything that you had before. But that runway is the runway your plane has to take off for. And a lot of it has to do with credibility. And we're going to see, we saw it in Shazam, and we could see it in The Flash, is that DC right now just doesn't have enough credibility to take that step. You know, for all the reasons I listed, 20 minutes, 30 minutes ago, if you haven't fixed those factors, you're on a tore up runway trying to get your brand new plane in the sky. And you're putting undue pressure. And I keep hearing, James Gunn's Superman Legacy doesn't hit, then the DC is over. And then we're already saying stupid shit like that for a movie that's not even coming out in 3 years. So that mentality, if that mentality is still there, and James Gunn puts out a quality movie and we still have the same goofball mentality that we currently have now when it comes to these movies, and I don't see it changing. The fanboy mentality when it comes to Superman, you listen how many, no matter what Superman movie you make, half the fans are not going to be on board with it immediately. So that's not changing with James Gunn's Superman. So there's too many factors that are just going to be the usual suspects surrounding these circumstances that tell me that, you know, we're going to be in the same place possibly in 4 or 5 years, especially if you have a retiring CEO or somebody else comes in and their vision is different than the first guy. So I think they need to take a deep dive into their product, salvage what you can, and that's why I think he's not doing a complete reboot, because he realizes how stupid that would be. Remember, everybody saying, "Oh, complete reboot." He'll keep what he thinks he can use. You know, but like I said, personally, it depends on, like I said, a lot of this depends on it depends on what happens after Flash, which is kind of ironic. That's another situation that Warner Brothers has really killed himself with. Is Flash is the bench player on the first line. He's on that first line, but he's not the Wayne Gretzky. He's not the Mark Messier or Mario Lemieux. He's there. And we're saying, well, everything depends on the Flash. So everything depends on the guy on the bench. We've done nothing with Superman for 5 years. We've done nothing with Batman for 5 years, and it's taken eons to get a Aquaman movie out there. Don't know if we're ever going to get a Wonder Woman movie again, but everything depends on the Flash. See, that's right. That kind of stuff has to go away or be changed in order for a reboot to even work. And I don't see any signs of it going away. James Gunn could put out a masterpiece in 2025 or 2026 or whenever we get this movie out. But if we still have the same mentality, if we still have the same structure, what good is starting over going to do other than telling people that when things get tough, you're just going to hit the reset button again? So why should I put any more money into you? Shazam and Black Adam's box office that they deserve. Called out those movies as low performers. No, the Black Adam did not get the money it deserved. Oh, not Black Adam. Shazam. Shazam deserved more than it got. But it's part of the exhaustion. William, it is. It is. Nothing I do or say should warrant it being in a comment room, out, in my opinion, outside of the one that we're on. Like if I come back to one of my streams and I see, a comment in our own pages or Poindexter Lounge or on my channel, I could understand that. But I have the bandwidth to reach outside of my little screen. I never thought that would be the case. But once again, it's not up to me. So, I mean, yeah. Okay, I think it's a lot more than that, but that's fine. But 150 is a boatload of money. That's theatrical money. They spent, the point being forth that they're going to spend that kind of theatrical money, or what was theatrical money, on things that bring value to their streamer. They will not make $250 movies and then they can make cash. Yeah, there is. The incentive is what your monthly revenue generating that comes from your streaming service. There's no box office incentive, but Netflix is not a box office. They're a studio, but the box office is not where they get their value from. There's no value in the box office other than getting, some Academy Award nods. That's why Netflix exists. That's why that's their whole business plan. And yes, they do make stuff for cheap. The majority of the stuff we're talking about is made for dirt cheap. You got stuff on Netflix I've never even heard of. But you know what? A lot of it people end up watching because they watch the core stuff and then Netflix floats you right into the other stuff. And a lot of people, I know, my parents, they sit there and they watch that stuff. Obscure stuff that you didn't even know exist. But that $250 million movie that hooked you in, or that $65 million, that $70, $89 million one, or $90 million one, like Rebel Moon is going to bring in a lot of people to other things that that will associate itself with that genre or with that demographic. And that's what a 90 million with Rebel Moon's is 90 million. That's still hitting towards box office money, because remember the Batman was made for was made for 90 million. So let's see. So I think the budget is between 90 and 125. Still, that's Blumhouse budget money, man. The value, like I said, the value is in the overall volume and retention of your streaming customers. And if I'm a subscriber and I tune in for certain things and you got some other stuff on there for me, guess what? That $250 million movie, that Rebel Moon or whatever, that's not Rebel Moon, it's 250. I'm in now. And now I got some other stuff that you hooked me on. And all of a sudden, I forget to unsubscribe. You do that 2 or 3 more times and you made money. And if you're a guy like me who has all the streaming services, I just stay on year round. That's consistent revenue generation. I mean, Netflix pulls in, what is Netflix monthly intake? And even Netflix generates so much revenue that they can operate at a $12 to $14 billion debt because their debtors know that they could pull in that money. Netflix monthly, especially now that they got the monthly, the subscription thing where you can't cheat. Monthly revenue. I'm just trying to find. Okay, they're pulling in $31 billion a quarter. Let's see. Okay, hold on. Netflix income for the 12 months ending on March 24th was $13 billion at 7.7 a year. The Netflix annual income for 2022 was at 4. So they increased. 85 point. Wow. So 13 billion. So that means you're roughly you're making. Where do they get the 31 billion? That's quarterly. So if you're making 13.27 billion a year, that means you're making you just over a billion. Yeah. So yeah, 7.9 billion. Yeah. So you're averaging a billion a month. So you have to invest enough to keep your subscriber count at that much. Now, with that kind of money coming in, people who finance your movies will continue to finance your movies. Your stock prices. How much is Netflix stock price? Because remember, it's not all about necessarily. Netflix stock price is $445 a share as of June 15th, 7. That is also value to your company. So that adds to your justification for it. I mean, you're right. There is a subscriber cap, but that's because I guess like we were talking before. Not everybody can, you can only so many people living in the world right now, and only so many people can support it. But so it's not as much growth as it is retention. If you can be the big dog on the block that retains your subscribers, that retention is stabilization, and people stock buyers love stability, man. Sorry with all the way. No. I want more wrestling questions. The Flash portrays its characters in such a way I think there's going to be interest in seeing more of everyone in the movie, like both Batman, Supergirl, Flash himself, and JL characters. Personally, top of my list for me is Supergirl. I don't care how you do it. I would love to see her again. I would love to see a story with her. Obviously, we know people want to, there's a desire for Black. The Flash, who knows? But like I said, Andy Muschietti, if he starts getting these jobs in there, he may have a lot of leverage to say, "Hey, James, you know what kind of work I can do. Let me do what I want to do for a little bit. Here's some ideas of you." James Gunn would be open-minded to let him do stuff. Yes, we're going to get one. Amazon has was on hold because of the writer's strike, obviously, but Amazon has commissioned. They've already in pre-production for Blade Runner 2099, and it's going to be an Amazon show. And I cannot wait. I teared up when I heard that announcement. Ooh, what's my DCU movie ranking? Number one. Ooh, this is tough. Number one is Man of Steel. Number two is Batman versus Superman. Number three is Zack Snyder's Justice League. Number four is Wonder Woman. Number five is going to be The Flash. Number six is Aquaman. Number seven, if I'm including these movies, is Shazam because I love Shazam. Number 8 is going to be Shazam: Fury of the Gods. Number 9 is going to be the Suicide Squad, the James Gunn version. David Ayers right after that, and then I guess Black Adam. But that's a tight 10, though. I like all of those movies. And I rewatch those movies all the time. Like the top 3 could switch, bam, depending on how I'm feeling. Zack Snyder Justice League could take over. And then wherever there's any bottom, then Justice League is there. So, how are you doing, Bel Red Mendez? Did you go see? I saw your picture with your feet up on the seats. What did you think of The Flash? It was okay for the people who want to know. By the way, I read your mind. Yeah, I want to see your stream about it. I want to see the uncensored F-bomb interlaced stream. That's my favorite. Tomorrow, my daughter graduates preschool tomorrow. Got to wake up early. Saw your review, bro. That's why you go honest reviews. I haven't seen your review. I have to look. What the old Bell would have just troopered through, and Amazon Bell would have. Come on, man. Amazon Delivery girl, Bill. The interaction on the bridge with Wonder Woman, Flash. Well, I don't know if I want to put that on there. That's a spoiler. Zack Snyder's already off the throne, and that's already answered, I think. Like I said, it switches for me. It's a tough question to answer because once you're in that top that you're in that the movies are such closely good. It's like I said, like I said, you asked me 2 weeks, I could change. Numbers, William, did you hear the rights of Neymar and Hulk have officially reverted back to Marvel Studios, Dave? Which means that Disney and Marvel will now be able to develop. Good. I don't know if they need to. I don't like what they've done with the whole character, and I'm not looking forward to a solo Hulk movie. So there's that. Neymar, I am. But there was always ways around. Just because you have a solo character, you could still get away with putting them in ensemble movies and stuff, and just have characters in periphery. But they can now do a solo movie all their own. So I like. Hey, but just Neymar's got some issues going on, so who knows? They're only allegations right now, but right now, I don't know how. I got to see how that situation unfolds first. It's above Suicide Squad and Aquaman. Ugh. Fair enough. Yeah, but same here. Hey, Mickey Rourke almost won an Oscar, man. He's horrible in Iron Man, but hey, he was doing what they were asked with him. Yeah, and I did at the beginning, but like I said, just I just so much crapping on it, and like I said, and it's like when you're in school and you see the popular kids and everybody gravitates around what everybody else says, and people stop in a lot of reasons. Now I'm not talking about the people who saw it and have an honest review. I'm talking about the people who, like, I've read some reviews, and if you read the reviews on certain places, you can distinguish who really didn't see the movie and who's just getting on here to bash. I saw several reviews that were just all about their issues with Ezra Miller, nothing about the movie. And it's just like, if you can't review a movie without all that, then you shouldn't be reviewing the movie. If you're just going to review a movie just to give your verdict of the entire DCU and the message been, say that. Say that your review mostly has to do with, and that's a fair review. If you're exhausted about the mismanagement, what Hamada did, what Sarnoff did, that's a fair review. But honestly word it that way. Because unfortunately, a lot of people are not thinking for themselves, and they're going to follow somebody's review in or out of a theater. And that's just the way we work today, and that's kind of sad. What's up, Bell, a.k.a. Legend? Oh, wow. Sasha Calle was amazing. I 100% agree. You know what? Like I said, if James Muschietti directs multiple movies in DC, he may be given the creative freedom. It would be an absolute travesty if I never saw her. Just the brief time she was on the screen, I need to see more of her. As soon as I got out of the movie and got to the office, I got to see more of this version of Supergirl. Even if you give me another version of her down the line for World of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, that's fine. I need to see at least something else with this Supergirl. Who knows, man? Like I said, maybe not. The reason why I think that it could exceed this is because, in my opinion, you guys can let me know what you think, is I saw this movie with different levels of comic book movie fans that are from different directions of it and different, different sensibilities. And The Flash was one of the few comic book movies I've seen in a long time that had something for everybody, Marvel or DC. Old comic book fans from different eras, there was something in there for this movie. Brand new comic book fans, there was something in there. And people who've been paying attention to DC the last 10 years, there was something in there for everybody. And usually when you have a movie like that, it generally does well. But once again, it's like a salmon swimming uphill. I can tell you that I enjoyed the movie. I had a lot of fun. I can recommend it. But I saw the movie, and I'm giving you an honest opinion. And I'm giving you an opinion based on that singular movie. Not how I feel about Ezra Miller. I'm not passing judgment on the rest of DCU coming or going, because a lot of the people who we sent to the movies or would ask me my opinion don't know about any of that stuff. They don't know who Ezra is other than he's playing the Flash. They don't care about the offline stuff. They don't care about the DC corporate management. So, that's why we gave a review based on the actual movie itself. And I wish I would have seen a lot more of that, because I have a feeling that some of these reviews, which are very ignorant, you guys can go read and judge them for yourself. They're all over the place, weren't very responsible. If you come to me and tell me that, hey, CGI this, I thought the story was middling on that, that's cool. That's fair. But that's not what I'm seeing, and it's kind of unfortunate. All right. I see you guys talking. I mean, please try to limit the spoiler stuff in the movies, even though the movie was released 6-7 hours ago. There are still a lot of people in the chat that haven't seen it, and I don't want to ruin their good time. So please kind of leave private message each other with spoilers if you can. The DC downer mentality will never go away. I'm already prepping monologues as to why New Superman is going to suck. I don't even know who it is, and I'm going to trash their movie. Yeah, that's where we're at, unfortunately, and that's really unfortunate. I mean, I just want to go to a movie that doesn't have everything of the future of DC whatever riding on it, and people put too much pressure on that stuff. All right, so. All right. Have a good night, Bev. Bill. Yeah, I am. I'm going to see that again too, because I got to see it. Just there's so many Spider-Man in that movie. When I get that on digital, when it finally comes out, I'm gonna be pausing the hell out of that movie, because there's so many Spider-Man in that movie. What's their operating budget? All that money isn't in pocket. What movie are you talking about? Fourth. Oh, you didn't know about that? I'm happy to be able to break that news to another Blade Runner fan, because I'm so happy. For instance, Netflix's operating expenses last year were about $26 billion. The streaming giant beat estimates for the first quarter of the year. But once again, though, you have your operating budget, you have the revenue that you generate and things like that, but you also can inflate that depending on how much reserve cash you have, because your reserve cash doesn't necessarily mean that's part of your debt structure or anything else. There are people who can, like, Netflix could go to any financier right now and say, I'm going to make Fourth 1000 a movie, but I need this amount of money. Netflix, even though they're operating like that, they can get that money for that particular thing, because that debtor is going to know with what they're making on a monthly and annual basis, they can pay that back sooner than later. And there's other things involved too that you could like. There's all kinds of stuff that involved, but Netflix is, like I said, they got a machine that's been working. Aaron Pitcher as a wrestler that could be considered controversial, however you like them. Right now, MJF. His promos are crazy. Everybody else is pretty much Mandela. We got you to a free early screening. You're going to get a lot of good audience vibes. No, I sent a bunch of. Listen, there's some assholes that I sent. I sent people. I don't just send first come, first serve people. I intentionally send people who are adverse to DC to these movies. I make sure there's a good percentage of people who are on the fence are outright adverse to DC movies. So I judge more, but that's what because it doesn't do me any good to send a bunch of yes men to these screenings. It doesn't do the company, it doesn't do DC any good to get just yes men appearance. They want to hear honest review. So we send people. I have a list of people who are just, either on the fence or just outright got their horns aimed at DC all the time. They've agreed to go, and they give me and we send them to other movies too, but they agree to go and they agree to give me their honest assessment of it. So it's not just people who are just going in for. Yeah, you're going to have some people like that, but I know the group of people that I can get the fair median opinion about. And then we do send people from the real public that are the real public. These people who go to these screenings are real public people. They're not encased in plastic, and we just don't break them open for the screenings. They are real. Yeah, I mean, and just have fun at the movie. Try to go to see this movie without the baggage that online community wants to put around its neck. Try to go see this movie without trying to be the judge, jury, and executioner of Ezra Miller. There's a legal process in play that will take care of whatever goes on with Ezra Miller. And unless you're on that jury, try to go to the movie and not have that in your head. And if the CGI doesn't work for you, then hey, say something. But like I said, a lot of the people I went to, I didn't. It wasn't a stopper for me. It wasn't one of the things that the only reason I even brought it up in my review is somebody had seen it and brought it up in their review, and I was kind of looking for it, but then the movie moved so fast that I lost a lot of focus on that. Nah, yeah, guys, just like I said, a lot of people who want to see it, they haven't seen it yet, so. I'm addicted to rewatching South Park episodes. There's a lot of people, and Beavis and Butthead. I have a lot of people who love that show. Yeah, go. It's what? Didn't it just get canceled? Do the people who send you give back to the studio? Do the people you send have give? Yes, they give them. The studio have their representatives sitting there. They're right outside the door. They have a couple of them, and they get the immediate results and they write it down. What we do is most of the people that I send, I get their emails and I get their contact info so that I can interact with them. And a lot of times it's not just one movie. We'll interact with people over the course of. I got some of the people that we've been sending to movies for years, and that way I can get their outlook on certain things over the course of time. Like when I tell you that I have people that that we send to movies that have this opinion about DC and exhaustion about and how they feel about reboot. These are people that I've been sending to the movies since 2015, 2016. So we try to keep those relationships open so that I get a better understanding, and it also helps me promote the movie when we're doing our promotions. I'm so proud of yourself watching Journey, Axel. It's been absolutely awesome seeing. It's such a good show, just not a show to watch in front of your parents. Oh, no. Yeah, there's some really, especially if your parents are like conservative, religious. Oh. All right. Oh, no, that's right. Yep. All right, guys. I have been on the air for an hour and 15 minutes. Think I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Let's see. If you need to fill those quotas for assholes, free screenings, keep me in mind. Dude, I invite you. You can, if you ever want to come out. You don't live that far away. You're on the other side of the desert. I definitely wouldn't mind having you out here. All right, guys, that's about it. I think I've covered everything. I think you guys have asked all my questions, and I think we're going to end up in spoiler territory if we go any longer. So, with that being said, we should be back on the air tomorrow night at around, depending on our flash screening. I won't know that until tomorrow. I was trying to do it before I got on, but one of the theaters was filling. The cinemas was filling up, so I'm probably going to have to go to a later screening and take some people with us. I was looking for cosplayers to come with us so I could take cool ass pictures, but a lot of them are already going to the theaters and booked up. So, yeah, we're probably just going to go with the regular Shazam training. I will most likely talk spoilers on our overnighter, on Saturday overnighter. And when I do it, I'm going to put up a background and huge streamers under me saying spoilers. But at that point, I think a lot of people who are already seen it, and I'll warn you ahead of time. So, all right, guys, thanks for being let me get rid of that. Thanks for being the best part of the whole YouTube experience, whether you love me or not. As long as you interacted with me in a productive and civil discourse, I'm always looking forward to interacting with you. So, and with that, you guys have a nice evening, and we'll see you later on today, I guess.